This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my review of Squid Game Season 1. And I know this is a very popular show, so let's get into it. And yeah, I think that this was a really well done show. There was obviously going to be spoilers, but I'm pretty sure like almost everyone has seen this, considering it's the biggest show on Netflix ever. So let's get into it. And to start off, Squid Game I had a lot of fun. The first episode, definitely interesting as it led up to the red light, green light game. And once all the death started, I think that's where it started to get interesting. And yeah, it was cool. And then continuing, I definitely like how bad it was for them to live in episode 2. And that made things interesting, where they all decided to come back to the game. Episode 3 with them all being back and leading ultimately to that crazy fight. That was episode 3. That was, well, it was getting even more intense. And with the one cop, sorry, I can't remember names that much. It was definitely interesting to see. And yeah, I think that was pretty cool. Looking at the rest, I had a lot of fun watching and looking at the episodes on, well, Netflix on my phone. It's still number 6 in the US today, which means it's still extremely popular. The second one, the honeycomb thing, the sugar honeycombs, that was really nice to see. And I like that little plotline they have with the harvesting organs. After we get to the game of tug of war, I think that's when the fight happens. So that leads to a pretty intense game, and I like how they ended it there with a nice cliffhanger. And you get the next episode where we get to see more happening. I don't remember exactly where the disaster storyline is here, but he's figuring it out more and more. And we get here. This is the one, I think, right before the marble game. It mainly focuses on, I think, the cop and him eventually figuring out how his brothers won the games. And then it also leads to, well, him also kind of being exposed and having to go into hiding in the island. The next one, that's the marble game, and that's definitely one that well started to mess with people. And this one, a lot of people thought that, well, uh, that the old man dies, and a lot of people were, well, sad. And although I didn't see the twist coming, I think it was definitely, well, pretty sad until you get to the finale. And then once the, well, VIPs show up, that's pretty, well, that was pretty intense. We have that crazy game with the glass stepping stones. Probably one of the most brutal ones towards the players. Then we go to our final 3. But then, well, when we get to the front man, him truly revealing his identity, who I think that one was a little more of an obvious twist. especially compared to the old man. I was definitely more interested. Yeah, continuing on with it. We also had the death of one of the last players. And finally, with the final game of the Squid Game, I like how they were willing to, well, give up all the money just to save his friend, and then he killed himself, and then, well, we get to the end, where it's a year later. He hasn't really done anything with his money, although he has paid off, well, the people he owes money to, because if you remember at the beginning of the show, they were threatening to, well, kill him if he didn't pay back. And yeah, so that was interesting. And once he, well, learns the old man was the guy in charge of the game, which, as I said, was a twist I didn't see coming, but I think was done really well. And definitely from what I was seeing of in reviews of it and breakdowns, that if you went and watched previous episodes, well, then you would be able to see this twist coming a lot better. And it's like subtly hinted at. I mean, I think that twist was really well done and pretty interesting how he wasn't messing with everyone. Also, some of those things I was talking about is if you looked at red light, green light, he wasn't even being registered by the targeting computers. And then in what's it called? The tug of war game, he didn't actually have anything connecting his chains. So he could have just taken them off if he thought they were going to lose. And then, well, he wasn't killed during the marble game. And I'm guessing he kind of wanted to either be taken out so he, well, didn't have to compete in the bridge game, which I think he knew that either he was going to lose or he was going to take number 16, and he was going to have the entire thing memorized to where what's called each of the things were. So he had, well, a guaranteed chance of survival. But then I think he would have to find what, because he would probably play the Squid Game too, and also maybe just keep his money. But it's also pretty interesting to think that, well, more than one person could have won the money, but it was just kind of everyone limiting people down so they could, well, get to the end. And yeah, I think that this was, well, pretty interesting. I really liked this series, and I'm excited to see if there would be a season 2. Although I have heard the creator never planned on it, and well, I'm interested to see if it will happen. Although I think they may be able to convince him because they may give him enough money. That is an interesting thing. And look at the rest. I do think it's kind of sad that, well, they used someone's actual phone number, and this person's been getting so many phone calls. I do feel bad for that person. And they probably could have done something where they made their own number to call. But I guess, well, they're gonna have to deal with the consequences of that. So that is interesting. And yeah, I do hope that you enjoyed this. And I'm wondering, well, did you like the show? Or you were a person who didn't like it? And what do you think of this overall? I do have a plan for, well, Squid Game style video, but that'll be out next week. And yeah, I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.